Hi friends, my name is Elizabeth. I'm an embroidery artist and pattern designer. Come with me behind the scenes as I bring August's pattern to life for my monthly subscription club.
So the first thing I always do is grab a 6-inch hoop, which is the size of all of my patterns, a piece of paper, and a pencil. Then I outline the inside of the hoop so I can see the exact size of what the pattern will be. It never worked for me when I went straight to my iPad to start the designing process of the patterns, because I'm not just drawing a design, I'm drawing a design for you to embroider, obviously. But there are a lot of things to consider when you're creating a design to hand embroider versus creating a design just for like a sticker or a wall hanging or an online graphic or anything like that. Because my patterns are all beginner friendly, I do have to be extra careful and extra thoughtful about my designs. I know that probably sounds silly that the less complicated pattern would have a more complicated design process, but it's because I need to consider a lot of different things when creating this for a beginner. The reason it's so helpful for me to draw this first and see what the actual size is going to be once it comes time to embroider it is because it's really easy to get carried away with drawing and adding a lot of small details into the pattern if you're digitizing it first versus drawing it on paper, because you're not actually able to see the actual size of it when it's on the computer or on your iPad. Lots of times I would draw it digitally first and then print it off and be like, this is so detailed, there's no way this is going to work for a beginner, and I would have to restart. So this way, by doing it on paper, I get to see the exact size of everything, and that makes it so helpful. Another thing I have to consider when I'm doing this is spacing. I don't want too many of my objects to overlap. I don't want any of my areas to be too crowded either. If there's a lot of overlapping objects and there's a lot of crowding, it's going to be really difficult for a beginner to pull their needle and thread in and out of that one area. I just want to make designs that are pretty and fun to stitch. So these are just a handful of things that I consider when I am creating just the outline of the patterns. Once I create a rough draft and I'm happy with it, I go ahead and take a picture with my phone. Then I send it over to my iPad and size it to be in a 6-inch frame, so it's the accurate size of what the pattern will end up being. I feel like every time I draw a pattern, it always takes me a bit longer than I think it will for some random reason. For this one, I was like, I want to do a floral Ferris wheel. So easy. And also, I am really picky and I'm hard on myself, and I'm always looking at my designs and wondering what I can do better. I do like that about myself. I think it's why my stuff is good, because I put a lot of thought and work into it. But this one was more complicated because it's not that it needed to be perfectly architectural whatever, because it's not like this was a real life Ferris wheel that needed to hold up people's bodies and spin them in a circle in a cart or whatever. But I wanted to make sure everything was spaced out nicely. I wanted to make sure that the little Ferris wheel cars weren't too small, so they weren't too hard to stitch. But I also didn't want them to be too big either, because if they were, then that would make for more overlapping with the spools and the florals and stuff. So I don't know, it just took me a minute to get it figured out, but it was definitely worth it. One thing about being self-employed that's always interesting, it's like I have a love-hate relationship with knowing this, but there's likely always a better way to do things. And that's really exciting because there's always something to learn, and I love that. But also when you're self-employed, you have to be careful with your time management. And just because I know there's a better way to do something doesn't mean I'll always find it and figure it out within the time frame I need to. So with Procreate, I have a lot to learn about this app, and that's really exciting to me. But when it came down to spacing and the spools or the geometric thing or whatever, I knew I was overcomplicating it, but I also didn't feel like I had the time to invest in a bunch of YouTube tutorials to figure it out. I have to stick to somewhat of a schedule for creating these patterns because I release them every month, and I also have just other stuff to keep up with too. So it's very easy to lose yourself in trying to figure out a better way to do something, because there is always a better way to do something. And I'll have these conversations with my husband, and he always reminds me, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So if I'm doing something in that moment and I don't have the time to invest in figuring out a faster, more efficient, better way of doing that thing, I have to just let it go, because for me, it is really easy to get sidetracked. And I just need to live with the fact that I don't have unlimited time to learn the perfect way to do everything, and that's okay. But I'm just saying this because when I was watching my time lapses back of drawing this whole thing on Procreate, I was like, surely there was a better way to do that, because I did not include all the footage of me redrawing the same thing again and again and again. But yeah, these are the things that are going through my brain while I'm drawing patterns. It's pretty loud up there in my head, all right? It has a bunch of great, beautiful, magical thoughts and ideas, but also a lot of, just a lot. There's just a lot going on up there all the time, all right? Excuse you. All right. Happy everyone. There's a reason he will never ever be employee of the month. Now it's time to pick out our thread colors. Ooh. There is such a big bug on the loose in my apartment. It was following me around for quite a bit. I was in like 10 seconds. And it was probably the worst 10 seconds of my life. And then Peppy tried to get it. Insert video. Where'd he go? Go get him. Don't throw him out. Where'd he go? Where is he? And I just haven't seen it since, and I'm scared. So this is the final pattern with the final colors. Ooh. Maybe I'll just insert a picture here so everyone can see it a little bit better, maybe. So I have the colors picked out on like Procreate. Like I made little color swatch dots over here. So this is how I find the closest thread color to those colors. If you hear growling, it's Moose. He's got an attitude. I recently acquired, as in spent all my money on every single DMC thread color. I have a video actually of me putting this all together. The sticker numbers, or the number stickers on the bobbins, and then winding up all the thread on the bobbins, and it took so long. One day I will post that video, and whenever I do, I'm sure I'll annoy the heck out of you guys and tell you to watch it. Part of the reason I treated myself to that was because I knew I was gonna do the pattern thing and I wanted to have every single color. And this is my job, so there it is. Let's see. Oh my gosh, what is happening? A little side project I'm working on. This is, you'll find out what this is, but the container is what Pippi's cat treats were in. I was like, wow, this is perfect for carrying my embroidery stuff on the go. My random colors are in here that I need, so I'm gonna get them. So to get the closest thread colors to my palette over here, I need the RGB numbers. So I use my eyedropper tool, grab the color I need, and I come over here, and over here under the value, it has the RGB, which is 255, 243, and 233. So I come over to this site, which is threadcolors.com. I'll link it in the description. And then right here, I enter the RGB, 255, 243, 233. And then I hit find colors. So this is the closest one, and then it gives me optional ones as well. So then I just keep doing that until the thread colors are picked out. I printed a test page, and I've decided I'm going to take the guidelines off for the top of the, what do you call these, like Ferris wheel baskets or something? I just think that this area is already so small that it's not really necessary to have them, and it just looks confusing. But everything else looks good. It fits in here very nicely. I'm just going to take those guidelines off, and then we'll be good to print on our fabric. Yeah, this looks way better and just a little less confusing. These were just so small. Like this makes it look way more complicated than what it actually is. Perfect. Okay, so now we can print on the fabric. You're so cute. you ever hear snoring in my videos, it's him. I have a YouTube tutorial on how to print on your fabric. So if you are curious about that, you can go watch it. I'll tag it in the description. The only different thing I'm doing right now than in that video tutorial is I use these labels. So it's basically an 8.5 by 11 sticker, but I just stick my fabric to the sticker and print on it instead of taping my fabric to cardstock. The only reason I didn't show this paper is because like you can really do it either way. And this paper, I don't even know. I got it so long ago, like seriously 5 or 6 years ago, and I still have it. I just always like trying to show people the least expensive way to do things, but you can definitely get this paper and do it, if I'm being honest. When I bought this sticker paper, I didn't know I could just tape my fabric to my cardstock, but yeah, so it's really up to you. Okay, so this is the sticky side here. Right here, so this is what I do. So this is about the size. It's kind of like just putting a screen protector on your phone. You want to not have any bubbles or lumps in the fabric. This is also why I do so many test pages on like my regular paper, because I don't want to like waste fabric. I really want to get like a fabric cutter table, but I don't feel like I have the business money to invest in that at this moment, but one day. Like when you buy fabric from me, it's probably actually going to be an extra inch or two than what the description says, because I can't cut in a straight line without it. So I give myself like an extra inch allowance. So if the fabric is a little crooked, at least there's like an extra inch there. All that work for this little guy, but it'll be worth it. I don't have a screwdriver, so this will have to do. Some of them have these little like hooks in here, so you can go like this to untwist it. Or sometimes if it doesn't fit, I just like grab this and bend it towards me. I don't care. See all that work just to get to stitching? Okay, now I'm gonna take some pictures of this really quick for some content. All right, this is the setup. I am now ready to stitch and I'm so excited. I get so excited when it's finally time to actually start stitching. It's gonna be so pretty. Peppy is definitely gonna get kicked out because he's already tried to bite me multiple times, and he loves nothing more than to sit like right here and watch me stitch and then bite my hand while I am holding a sharp needle, and I'm concerned about stabbing myself, and I'm concerned about him biting the needle and hurting himself. Moose is just the goodest boy. He just sleeps all day. I'll show some footage of me stitching, but it's probably gonna be with my iPhone because this camera is not meant for up close. Like it has to be so close to the fabric that there's not even any room for my hand or my needle to stitch, so.
All right, it is Monday, July 28th at 11:30, and I just got done stitching the hoop. It looks so cute. I love it so much. It reminds me of the Notebook when Noah like hops up on the Ferris wheel with Allie and then hangs off of it until she agrees to go out with him. Probably like a little toxic on his part, but when I watched it at the age I did, that would not have been considered toxic at that time. 2025, we know better now. If a guy is hanging off a Ferris wheel and says he's gonna let go if you don't go out with him, I could run. Pretend he like met her on the Ferris wheel and they like both happened to get on at the same time, and he was like, hey, I think you're really cute and I would really like to go out with you. And she was like, okay. Not him threatening to kill himself if she doesn't agree. Anyways, here's the finished product. Isn't it so cute? I love it. I just went ahead and hung it up on my work in progress gallery wall. This was May's pattern. Strawberries Hollow. You can still buy this pattern on my website. It's just the full price instead of the subscription price. Yeah, there's this one. It's so cute. I'm really proud of it. It's gonna be a really good one to stitch for beginners too. My past couple ones have been a little bit more time consuming, but this one will be a little bit quicker. August just reminds me of carnival, state fair, I don't know, stuff like that. So I feel like it's a good vibe. And look, my friend painted this for me this past weekend. I'll put the reference photo here. Isn't it amazing? So it's so cute. All right, it is July 29th, 10:12 a.m. I've been working on the pattern for a little bit, but I forgot to record. Also, I live in an apartment and my apartment complex sent out an email that said anywhere from Monday to Thursday from 9 to 5 this week, the fire department's gonna come in and do their inspections, but they can't say what day or time. And I wish I was a person that just could be like, okay, and then wait till they knock on the door and then just be like, la la la. But the way my brain is, I really struggle knowing that somebody's gonna knock on the door at any second and come in here. I got a lot of stuff on my mind all the time, so like that's always in the back of my head. But thankfully they did just come in here. So now I'm like, okay, I don't have to think about that again. It sucks when you have a dog and Moose is like a bigger dog, so I have to kind of like wrestle him into his cage, and then he gets really upset and anxious, and like 3 or 4 guys come in here and then he's freaking out because he's in the cage and I'm in here and my husband's at work, and so he's like, I need to protect my mom. They have to like set off the fire alarm. It's like the fire department or whatever. They're like, if we're unable to do everything or like access your apartment building, like you'll get a $750 fine. And people would be like, calm down, it's not that deep. And I'm like, you're right. I have my colors here that I can reference while I'm writing. I have the hoop if I need to look at anything. And then I took some notes like while I was stitching. And then also I ended up like switching out some colors, so then I had to like write that down while I was stitching too. And then I also have my iPad, has some colors and stuff too on here. So time to get started, or resume, I guess I should say. This is how detailed my patterns are. I literally take a picture of every single step and then talk you through it so you can see how I created the whole thing. What also makes my patterns beginner friendly is the fact that I walk you through stitching the entire thing and I show you how to stitch it with the beginner friendly stitches. So there's no stone unturned with this. Like, I include all the deets for you. And then you can also ask me if you ever have any questions too. It's 11:55. I got the step-by-step instructions done, which is the hardest part. So now I am going to take my product photos and then I'll add those to the pattern and do all the like loose ends and stuff for that. So now we can take some product photography together. So now I just need to finish up the patterns, add links to my YouTube videos for the stitch tutorials, add the color guide, add the pictures I just took, add the supplies list, link the supplies. Moose is snoring. Sleepy guy. And then I also need to think of a name. Flower Ferris. Ferris Flowers. Flower Wheel. Flower Wheel? No, I don't know. I need to think of a name. I also need to make some space on the memory card on this camera so we can keep talking. Maybe I'll eat lunch. What time is it? 12:15. Guess I should go eat some food. Boo! I want to keep working. If you're interested in becoming a pattern subscriber, you can sign up through the link in the description. Yeah. It is only $7 a month to get a brand new beginner-friendly embroidery pattern delivered straight to your inbox. My digital patterns typically cost anywhere from $10 to $15, and the pattern subscription is only $7, so you get a really big discount just by being a subscriber. You can sign up any day in August and automatically receive August pattern. My patterns are released on the 1st of every month, so for example, you can sign up for the rest of the month of August and get August pattern, and then on September 1st, your subscription will automatically renew and you will have September's pattern sent straight to your inbox. You also get a reminder email on the last day of the month reminding you that your card is about to be charged the following day. You can pause or cancel your subscription at any time. If you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks, bye friends.